I moved into the apartment on Rue Saint-Vincent on a Tuesday afternoon. The walls were pale, uneven, the kind of plaster that hides decades. The landlord, Monsieur Lenore, said it had been empty for 2 years. A quiet place, he promised. Artists used to live here. He smiled too long when he said it. The first night, I heard a sound, soft at first, like fingernails dragging along the inside of the wall. I told myself it was just the old wood contracting in the cold. But it came again. A slow, deliberate rhythm. 3 taps. Pause. 2. When I pressed my ear to the wall, the tapping stopped. The next morning, I mentioned it to the woman downstairs, Madame Rue, who'd lived in the building for 30 years. She gave a nervous little laugh. "It's probably the pipes," she said, but her eyes shifted toward my apartment door like she didn't believe it herself. By the 3rd night, the tapping grew louder. I started recording it on my phone. At 2:13 a.m., the sound was clear enough to see in the waveform 5 sharp knocks, each about half a second apart. When I played the recording the next day, I noticed something else. Between the knocks, there was a faint voice. Just a whisper. I boosted the audio. A woman's voice, almost pleading. "Don't let him in." I stopped listening after that. That weekend, I asked Monsieur Lenore about the previous tenant. His smile faded. "You don't need to know about that," he said, and refused to hand over the building's maintenance records, which, by French law, tenants are allowed to review. I decided to look it up myself. A name came up in the archives of Le Progrès. Camille Delatour, age 26, reported missing in 2011. Last seen at 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. My building. My apartment number. The article mentioned that neighbors complained of strange sounds coming from her flat before she disappeared. That night, I didn't sleep. I taped over the vents, stuffed towels under the door, and left the light on. Around 3 a.m., my phone vibrated with a notification, audio file recording _004.mp3 saved. I hadn't recorded anything that night. The file was 7 minutes long. The first 5 were silence. Then came the sound of slow breathing, and a man's voice whispering directly into the microphone. "You finally moved in." When I played that recording again in daylight, the breathing was clearer. The voice, low, deliberate, seemed to move closer with each word. "You finally moved in." I deleted it immediately, then emptied the recycle bin. 5 minutes later, the file reappeared on my desktop. The icon had changed. Instead of the usual waveform, it showed a small white square, like a door slightly open. That morning, I went downstairs to complain to the building manager. The office door was ajar. Inside, someone was sorting papers, an older man in blue overalls, smelling faintly of turpentine. He looked up as I entered. "Ah, Monsieur Morel," he said. "I heard you moved into 3B. I'm Gervais, the maintenance man. You've been hearing things, haven't you?" froze. I hadn't told anyone yet, except Madame Rue. He smiled, toothless and tired. Old pipes, he said before I could respond. They do that, especially at night when it's quiet. He walked toward the window, adjusting the curtain like he was inspecting something invisible. But if I were you, he added softly, I wouldn't try to record it. The walls remember things better than we do. The way he said that made my stomach twist. When I left, I noticed his toolbox had a label. Property of Delatour. That night, I searched the name again, Camille Delatour. No updates since 2011. Just an archived notice, case suspended due to lack of evidence. The police report mentioned her family had requested a second search of the apartment, but the landlord had denied it, citing property damage concerns. I couldn't stop thinking about what Gervais said, the walls remember things. So I started testing them. I set up my phone to record for 6 hours while I slept. The next morning, there were 2 audio files, not one. The first, mine, was the same static hiss as always. The second had no timestamp, no file name, just an empty string of numbers. When I played it, I heard footsteps, slow, dragging, right above me. But I lived on the top floor. Then a man's voice. She thought it was the pipes, too. I went to confront Gervais the next day, but his office door was locked. I asked the landlord where he was. Lenore blinked, confused. Who? Gervais. The maintenance man. The one who fixes the heating. Lenore shook his head slowly. Monsieur Morel, we haven't had a maintenance employee since 2011. After that girl disappeared. I stood there, staring. But I saw him. He spoke to me. Lenore frowned. Are you sleeping well? That night, my apartment felt smaller. The walls closer. I checked my windows twice. I left the bathroom light on. At 2:46 a.m., my phone vibrated again, an email alert this time. No sender, no subject. Just a short message. We should have fixed the walls when we had the chance. Attached was a photo, the view from inside my bedroom, taken from the corner near the wardrobe. I hadn't taken it. I didn't sleep after the photo arrived. Every creak of the parquet sounded like someone shifting weight. At 6 a.m., I walked straight to the city records office on Rue du Bat d'Argent. The clerk found my building's plans, hand-drawn, yellowed. There was something strange. The blueprint for the 3rd floor showed 2 rooms, but my apartment only had 1. Between my bedroom and the stairwell, there was a void, about 1 meter wide. The clerk shrugged. Probably a blocked-off chimney, he said. But the space ran the full height of the building. A narrow, sealed shaft. That evening I measured my bedroom wall, 4.2 meters. The plan said it should be 5.3. Almost exactly 1 meter missing. I tapped the plaster where the difference began. It sounded hollow. I borrowed a small inspection camera from work, the kind we used to check ducts, and drilled a hole near the baseboard. The drill bit hit air almost instantly. When I slid the camera inside, the screen showed dust, cobwebs, then a metal surface about 50 centimeters away. A handle. A door. I pulled the bit out and just sat there, staring at the hole. The phone buzzed. Unknown number. A male voice whispered, low and steady. "Don't open it yet." The line went dead. 2 days later, I went back to the records office. The clerk wasn't there. Someone else was covering. When I asked about the blueprints, she frowned. "There are no plans for that address after 1979, she said. I told her I'd already seen them. She searched again, nothing. The file had been checked out that morning by Lenore M. I couldn't stay in the flat anymore, but curiosity is a disease. That night I pried off the baseboard and widened the hole enough to fit my arm through. My fingers brushed cold metal. The surface was scored, as if someone had scratched at it for years. I found a phrase carved in jagged letters. "Tennis firm. Keep it closed." When I pulled my hand back, there was dust on my wrist, dark red, almost brown. Old. Like dried iron. I sealed the hole with tape and left for the night. I booked a cheap hotel near Parash. But at 3 a.m., the receptionist called up to my room. "Sir, your visitor is waiting downstairs." I didn't invite anyone. He said he's from maintenance. Gervais, I think. I told her not to let him up. She hesitated. "But, monsieur, he already..." The line went silent. When I returned to the apartment the next morning, the door was ajar. Inside, everything was exactly as I'd left it, except the hole. The tape was gone, and written on the wall, in neat block letters, was a new message. "If you open it, you won't know who you are." April 12th, 2015, Psychiatric Intake Report. Patient Adrian Morel, 34. Complaint: persistent auditory hallucinations, paranoid ideation related to apartment infrastructure. Observation: presents coherent, articulate speech, insight partially intact. Expresses belief that building plans have been altered to conceal a hidden door. Requests forensic inspection. Dr. Delaney noted, patient insists on evidence, audio files, architectural drawings, but exhibits mounting anxiety when questioned about sleep or isolation. April 18th, email from a Morel to Lion City Archives. Subject: urgent discrepancy in building records. Dear Madam, could you confirm whether the 2013 revision of permit #RV47B existed? I viewed it in February, but it seems to have vanished from your system. The file contained details about a sealed service corridor in my flat. I need a certified copy. Morel. Reply: automated. This record cannot be located. Please contact the property owner. The next week, Adrian showed up at the archives in person. According to a clerk's later statement, he produced a printed floor plan with faint pencil lines drawn over the third-floor layout. While waiting, he claimed he heard someone whispering behind the stacks, his own name repeated quietly. No one else reported hearing it. He took the plan home and pinned it above his bed. Over the next month, neighbors began to notice lights on in his apartment at all hours. He'd sleep in bursts of 15 minutes, then wake to jot something down in a notebook. When police later recovered that notebook, every page after May 3rd contained the same words, scrawled over and over. It's changing at night. June 2nd, session transcript, excerpt. Delaney, you said the walls move? Morel, not move, exactly. They breathe. The measurements shift a few millimeters every morning. I mark them in pencil, then they're gone. Delaney, you're certain it isn't measurement error? Morel, I record it. I have proof. But when I play the audio, it's blank. Only my voice saying things I never said. Dr. Delaney wrote later, progressive derealization. Suggest intensive observation. Adrian refused hospitalization. He insisted on hiring a private surveyor to scan the apartment. Survey report, July 2015. Finding minor inconsistencies between official and physical dimensions, 8 to 10 centimeters variance, possibly due to plaster renovation circa 1980. No evidence of concealed cavity detected by thermal imaging. Adrian argued the results had been edited. He believed someone accessed the surveyor's files after the inspection. Friends said he stopped leaving the building altogether. In August, residents complained of a low humming noise echoing through the stairwell at night, like distant machinery. Maintenance records show no electrical work was scheduled. One neighbor, Madame Rue, told investigators, I went up once to check on him. He'd pinned dozens of blueprints on the wall. Every page had holes burned through, tiny circles, like someone had pressed a cigarette into them. When asked why, Adrian said, I'm letting them speak. On September 9th, 2015, he emailed Dr. Delaney one last time. I found another line under the paint. It leads downward. If I follow it, maybe I'll remember what really happened here. He never showed up for his next appointment. September 15th, 2015, initial call. At 7:42 a.m., the resident of 3 reported a constant tapping sound as if a pipe were being hammered from inside the wall. When the superintendent opened 3B, Adrian Morel's flat, with a master key, the apartment was empty. Coffee still warm on the table. Laptop open. Front door locked from the inside. The report describes the interior as cluttered but orderly. A mattress on the floor, notebooks, rolled papers pinned with drawing pins across one wall. Each sheet of blueprint had been marked with numbers and measurements, some corrected in red ink. A narrow channel had been cut through the parquet beside the bed, about 40 centimeters wide, running 2 meters toward the exterior wall. Inside the cut, a void about 25 centimeters deep, lined with plaster dust and fragments of old newspaper. One clipping, partially legible, bore the headline, Local woman still missing after year, 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. Inventory extract. 11 spiral notebooks containing repeated measurements and diary entries. 1 digital recorder, battery depleted. A USB stick labeled door sound. 46 architectural sketches, several with burn marks. 1 broken inspection camera. The USB contained a single audio file, faint static, followed by a thud, then what sounds like a person counting 1, 2, 3 before silence. Forensic audio specialists concluded it was likely environmental noise, perhaps pipes expanding. Witness statements. Madame Rue, 3A. He'd knock at my door sometimes, asking if I heard it too. Always that same question. Do you hear the wall breathing? The last week he looked transparent, like he hadn't slept in months. Monsieur Lenoir, landlord. I tried to evict him after the survey, but he sent letters to the city saying the building was part of an experiment. Nonsense. The rent was paid through November, then nothing. Police follow-up. The missing persons file reopened September 16th. Officers performed a structural scan of the third-floor wall and confirmed a sealed service cavity roughly 1 meter wide. Access from above and below was obstructed by reinforced plaster from a 1982 renovation. No entry point large enough for a person was found. No evidence of struggle, blood, or forced exit. Internal memo, October 2015. Recommend closure pending further information. No trace of subject. Apartment relet February 2016 after refurbishment. All original plaster removed. During the renovation, workers noted a small, penciled inscription on the inner surface of the exposed brick. If you're reading this, listen first. The phrase was documented, then painted over. Aftermath. For several months, the building remained half vacant. Tenants spoke of drafts, of faint knocks returning whenever someone new moved into 3B. By 2017, the unit was converted into storage. Officially, case hashtag 15-483LY remains open. Unofficially, the last line in the police file, handwritten by an investigator, reads, Blueprints of third floor unaccounted for as of May 10th, 2016. January 2017, lease conversion. After the Morel case went dormant, apartment 3B was re-registered as auxiliary storage. The official purpose was to hold spare furnishings for the landlord's short-term rentals. Work order hashtag 17-011 lists removal of partition, repainting, installation of shelving. No mention of the void behind the wall. The contractor, J. Bernier Sarl, later stated that the plaster on the west side crumbled too easily, as if the lime hadn't set in decades. He patched it, painted over, and closed the job in March. April 2018, tenant complaint. Madam Isabel Collin, who had moved into 3A, filed a written complaint to the property office. Since the storage conversion next door, a mechanical vibration occurs at night, regular, like breathing. The building engineer says there's no motor or fan on that side. A technician found nothing wrong. Noise classified non-verifiable. Case closed. October 2018, discovery. A temporary employee sorting stored items noticed an envelope taped beneath a shelving plank. Inside, 2 Polaroids, a USB drive, and a folded sheet of tracing paper. The Polaroid showed sections of wall marked with pencil grids. The tracing paper bore coordinates and the faint outline of a door, annotated in Morel's handwriting. When the employee turned the photos over, the back of one read. They painted over her voice. The objects were handed to management, who turned them into police. The USB was corrupted. Metadata suggested it had last been accessed in 2015. 2019 insurance inspection. During a routine safety review, inspectors measured moisture anomalies in the same west wall. The report, available through public record hashtag 19-442LY, lists unexplained air gap is almost equal to 0.9 m depth. The landlord declined further structural work, citing non-critical variance. The junior inspector, Philippe Caron, later told a journalist, "It was odd. The cavity wasn't symmetrical. It narrowed at the base, like someone had filled it by hand. When I tapped the lowest section, it sounded hollow, then solid again, like layers." Subsequent events. By late 2019, the storage space was emptied. The door plate 3B was removed. Deliveries still arrived for the address, though no unit officially existed in the building plan after renovation. Postal logs show several parcels addressed to A. Morel Archives, 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. All were returned as undeliverable. Interview excerpt, Philippe Caron, 2020. After the inspection, I started noticing small things, misprints in my copies of the report, like a ghost line beneath the drawing of the wall. I went back to the file. The digital skin has extra layers, faint letters only visible when you zoom in. They spell tennis firm. The original paper doesn't show it. It's only inside the scan. He requested the archives delete the file. They refused. It's a public record. 3 months later, the record was replaced with a note. Document not currently available due to data corruption. January 2020, server migration. Lyons Municipal Archive moved its 2000 to 2019 files onto a new digital platform. Among the transferred documents was record hashtag 19-442LY, the moisture inspection report of 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. During upload, the server flagged it, checksum mismatch. Technicians rescanned the paper copy. The checksum failed again. One engineer, Clara Besson, wrote in an internal chat log, "It keeps generating extra layers. The PDF size doubles every time we export it. The edited pixels look like handwriting, but the OCR can't read it." A supervisor told her to delete the file and reindex manually. Within a week, 3 other archive documents from the same folder, unrelated permits, showed identical checksum errors. March 2020, press interest. Local journalist Mark Arnault began researching digital artifacts in the municipal archive. was an IT story, corrupted backups after the migration. But the file names had patterns, St. Vincent repeated, each with a 2-digit suffix. They formed a date, April 7th, 2011, the day Camille Delatour vanished. When the city's spokesperson was asked, she replied simply, "That is coincidence. Old naming convention." The following day, the archive's public site went offline for scheduled maintenance. June 2020, email leak. An anonymous email reached Le Progrès newsroom. Subject line, "Listen before you open." Attachment, an audio file labeled door_sound.wave. The paper's IT department checked metadata, created 2015, modified 2019. It matched the file once listed in the police inventory of Adrien Morel. The recording contained 7 seconds of silence, then a faint click, followed by a voice, barely audible, reciting what sounded like coordinates. Acoustic analysis showed the waveform identical to building vibration patterns recorded by the surveyor's instruments 5 years earlier. No article was published. The newsroom deleted the file after consultation with police. 2021 Archival Anomalies. Technicians noticed certain user accounts automatically reopening record hashtag 19-442LY after hours. Access logs listed impossible timestamps, entries dated April 7th, 2033, 311. When cross-checked, each timestamp corresponded to the moment a physical copy of the same record was retrieved for maintenance. The city's IT director concluded it was a mirror caching bug linked to daylight saving conversions. Still, one analyst kept printouts of the logs. On every sheet, faint lines appeared under the text when photocopied, a pattern forming letters that read, "I was here first." The analyst, interviewed later, said quietly, "It's probably tone or bleed. But once you see the words, you can't unsee them. Everyone who's handled that file dreams of the same corridor." 2022, closure notice. The municipal website replaced all Rue Saint-Vincent files with a single placeholder. Digital asset retired following redundancy review. When Le Progrès requested comment, the reply came not from the IT department but from legal services. There is no record of case hashtag 15-483LY or permit hashtag RV47B in our database. These numbers were never assigned. Yet independent internet caches still list fragments, thumbnails of floor plans, partial text, blurred margins that appear to show Morel's handwriting. Excerpt, Mark Arnaud's Field Notes, 2022. If you overlay all recovered blueprints, the missing corridor aligns perfectly with the city's fiber optic trunk laid in 2013. The Hum residents reported could have been data traffic resonating through old ducts. Still, every backup I copy of the Morel documents grows by exactly 47 bytes per day, as if something keeps writing inside. 2020, server migration. Lyons Municipal Archive moved its 2000 to 2019 files onto a new digital platform. Among the transferred documents was record #19-442LY, the moisture inspection report of 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. During upload, the server flagged it, checksum mismatch. Technicians rescanned the paper copy. The checksum failed again. One engineer, Clara Besson, wrote in an internal chat log, "It keeps generating extra layers. The PDF size doubles every time we export it. The added pixels look like handwriting, but the OCR can't read it." A supervisor told her to delete the file and re-index manually. Within a week, 3 other archive documents from the same folder, unrelated permits, showed identical checksum errors. March 2020, press interest. Local journalist Mark Arnault began researching digital artifacts in municipal archives. In a podcast interview, he said, "I thought it was an IT story, corrupted backups after the migration. But the file names had patterns, St. Vincent repeated, each with a 2-digit suffix. They formed a date, April 7th, 2011, the day Camille Delatour vanished. When the city's spokesperson was asked, she replied simply, 'That is coincidence. Old naming convention.' The following day, the archive's public site went offline for scheduled maintenance. June 2020, email leak. An anonymous email reached Le Progrès newsroom. Subject line, 'Listen before you open.' Attachment, an audio file labeled door_sound.wave. The paper's IT department checked metadata, created 2015, modified 2019. It matched the file once listed in the police inventory of Adrien Morel. The recording contained 7 seconds of silence, then a faint click, followed by a voice, barely audible, reciting what sounded like coordinates. Acoustic analysis showed the waveform identical to building vibration patterns recorded by the surveyor's instruments 5 years earlier. No article was published. The newsroom deleted the file after consultation with police. 2021, archival anomalies. Technicians noticed certain user accounts automatically reopening record #19-442LY after hours. Access logs listed impossible timestamps, entries dated April 7th, 2033, 311. When cross-checked, each timestamp corresponded to the moment a physical copy of the same record was retrieved for maintenance. The city's IT director concluded it was a mirrored caching bug linked to daylight saving conversions. Still, one analyst kept printouts of the logs. On every sheet, faint lines appeared under the text when photocopied, a pattern forming letters that read, "I was here first." The analyst, interviewed later, said quietly, "It's probably tone or bleed. But once you see the words, you can't unsee them." Everyone who's handled that file dreams of the same corridor. 2022, closure notice. The municipal website replaced all Rue Saint-Vincent files with a single placeholder. Digital asset retired following redundancy review. When Le Progrès requested comment, the reply came not from the IT department but from legal services. There's no record of case hashtag 15-483LY or permit hashtag RV47B in our database. These numbers were never assigned. Yet independent internet caches still list fragments, thumbnails of floor plans, partial text, blurred margins that appear to show Morell's handwriting. Excerpt: Mark Arnault's Field Notes, 2022. If you overlay all recovered blueprints, the missing corridor aligns perfectly with the city's fiber optic trunk laid in 2013. The Hum residents reported could have been data traffic resonating through old ducts. Still, every backup I copy of the Morell documents grows by exactly 47 bytes per day, as if something keeps writing inside. February 2023, permit request. Arnault filed a routine media observer request to accompany a utility company inspection of the fiber optic lines beneath Rue Saint-Vincent. Officially, he was writing about urban data noise. Unofficially, he wanted to see whether the conduit mapped beneath the coordinates found in Morell's notes. The trench plan showed a narrow branch, line 47B, running directly under the building. It had been decommissioned in 2017. The file stamp read duplicate permit number, see note. The note was missing. March 2023, site visit. At 3 a.m., the crew lowered a camera drone into the maintenance shaft. Video log 23-0312LY shows 60 meters of cable sheathing, concrete, then an abrupt turn and a dark recess. The feed flickered, telemetry dropped for 5 seconds. When the image returned, one cable identifier tag was visible, handwritten rather than printed. RV47B. The foreman, interviewed later, said, "No one labels by hand anymore. Hasn't been done since before 2010. He assumed it was leftover scrap." Arnault asked to keep the footage. He was refused. April 2023, notebook entry. The hum is measurable, 50 Hz, a mains frequency modulation carried by the optical housing. When I record it, the waveform matches the pattern from the old audio file. Maybe Morell heard electricity and made it a voice. Maybe I'm doing the same. He began sleeping in a rented flat nearby to compare nighttime vibrations. Neighbors complained of a constant low tone that seemed to come from the floorboards. Acoustic engineers traced it to a power inverter in the basement. When they cut power, the sound stopped for exactly 7 minutes, then resumed, slightly out of phase. May 2023, phone interview with utility supervisor. Arnault, who authorized the reactivation of line 47B. Supervisor, there's no 47B. The numbering jumps from 46 to 48. Arnault, I've seen the tag myself. Supervisor, then you saw a prank. 2 days later, the supervisor emailed, "Please don't quote me. We found a short section unaccounted for, sealed in concrete. It shouldn't be there." June 2023, draft article, unpublished. Title, "The Room Beneath the Signal." Excerpt, "There's a frequency that travels through walls of limestone buildings, low enough to bypass human hearing yet strong enough to vibrate metal. The city calls it noise. I call it memory, electric current remembering the shape of an absence. He never submitted the final version. July 2023, municipal response. A formal letter from the Public Works Office advised the Lepogers that all access to Rue Saint-Vincent conduits was suspended due to structural instability. Unofficially, workers said a small cavity had opened beneath number 47, a void roughly 1 meter wide, filled with crumbling plaster and a rusted metal handle. It was sealed the same day. Afterward, 2024. Arnaud left journalism in late 2023. He teaches media literacy now. When asked about the case, he says, half smiling, "Every file becomes haunted if you open it too many times." The city eventually paved over the inspection hatch. The hum stopped, at least, according to the official acoustic survey. Residents still say that on quiet nights the Wi-Fi signal near the corner of Rue Saint-Vincent flickers in steady pulses. 5 short, too long. January 2024, new assignment. Claire Dubois, 29, joined the Lyon Municipal Archives as a junior archivist. Her first project, digitize and reconcile incomplete records of the third-floor renovations at 47 Rue Saint-Vincent, 2013 to 2017. During the first inspection, she noticed anomalies. Certain paper records, mostly copies of structural reports, had extra layers of faint pencil marks along the margins. They didn't appear in prior scans. She recorded her observation. Every blueprint seems to have hidden instructions. Lines that weren't drawn, rooms that shouldn't exist. They line up if you overlay them precisely, but no one seems to know why. February 2024, discovery of missing pages. While cross-referencing permits, Dubois noticed that permit RV47B was absent from the digital database. Yet microfiche scans contained fragments, partial blueprints, scribbled notes in French. Tennis firm. Ne laissez pas entrer la lumière. She compiled these fragments on a large corkboard in her office, reconstructing the floor plan. Lines matched Arnaud's drone footage from the fiber optic trunk inspection. It's like someone wanted the corridor to exist only in fragments, she wrote in her notebook. March 2024, digital oddities. When Dubois scanned the fragments, her PDFs consistently added 1 extra layer per export. Each new layer faintly replicated Morel's handwriting, almost imperceptible, forming illegible words. She noted, "If I zoom in exactly 300%, the marks appear readable, but only in the digital copy. The originals remain blank. Every copy behaves differently." She consulted the IT department. Engineers insisted it was a rendering artifact, yet the pattern persisted across multiple scanners, operating systems, and software versions. April 2024, correspondence with Marc Arnaud. Dubois emailed Arnaud, describing the digital anomalies. He responded cautiously, "I saw something similar in my footage from the fiber trunk. Lines appear where they shouldn't. I thought it was my imagination. Perhaps the building remembers things too well." They agreed to share findings in a joint report, never published. May 2024, reconstructed map. Du Bois pinned the reconstructed blueprint on a wall, a hidden corridor behind the west wall of 3B, stretching from floor to ceiling. She marked ventilation shafts, original plaster layers, and the site of Morel's mysterious cut in the floorboards. I don't know if it was ever real, she wrote, or if the memories of it are what keep appearing in every copy of the plans. She began sleeping poorly, describing in her diary a persistent low hum from the office's old HVAC system, matching the frequencies recorded by Arnaud in 2023. June 2024, conclusion. Du Bois presented her findings to the archives director. Fragments of 3B blueprints exist only in digital duplicates. Anomalous additions replicate Morel's handwriting. No structural or legal records confirm the corridor. Fiber optic inspection footage aligns with physical anomalies under Rue Saint-Vincent. Official response: the corridor is not recognized by municipal records. Treated as a historical curiosity. Unofficially, Du Bois was allowed to retain copies of her digital reconstructions. She noted in her diary, the archivist becomes the map. Every line, every layer is a memory. Perhaps we are the only ones left to see it. July 2024, digital layering. Du Bois noticed that the PDF of the reconstructed 3B blueprint began modifying itself overnight. First layer, her hand-traced reconstruction. Second layer, faint pencil marks resembling Morel's handwriting. Third layer, sequences of numbers, unreadable, but repeating 47, 3B, 2011 in various patterns. She printed the file on multiple printers in the archives. Each printout showed slightly different anomalies. Lines shifted, letters appeared in margins, and faint diagonal markings ran across the paper. She documented it. Every copy has its own memory. It's as if the file itself is aware it's being examined. August 2024, interaction with Arnaud. Du Bois sent Arnaud samples of the prints. He replied, I saw the same thing in my fieldwork, video frames duplicating lines that weren't there, frequencies matching Morel's original audio. It's subtle, but unmistakable. It's not corruption. It's imprint. They agreed to a cautious experiment. Create a fresh digital reconstruction of the blueprints. Keep it isolated on a standalone computer. Record all changes nightly. After the first week, minor marks appeared, scribbles resembling Morel's handwriting, without human intervention. September 2024, psychological effects. Du Bois reported trouble sleeping, headaches, and a persistent low-frequency hum in the archives. Engineers verified HVAC and server noise, but nothing could reproduce the subtle 50 Hz vibrations. She wrote in her diary, I dream of corridors that shift as I trace them. I wake up and the PDF is different. Lines are thicker, angles sharper, as if the blueprint is correcting itself. Or me. Arnaud reported similar symptoms, headaches after examining fiber trunk footage and listening to old audio files. October 2024, patterns emerging. Du Bois noticed a pattern. Each anomalous layer corresponded to a real-world measurement. The original cut in Morel's floorboards equals 0.4 m wide. The sealed cavity under Rue Saint-Vincent equals 1 m. Reconstructed PDF corridor lines equals 0.99 m wide. It was almost precise. The digital imprints mirrored reality, even though official records denied the corridor's existence. She wrote, "The corridor exists between perception and record, between what was and what we imagine. Every examination leaves a trace." November 2024, the archivist's warning. Du Bois emailed the IT department. "The files are changing. We can't stop it. Every interaction leaves a mark. Whoever examines these records becomes part of the data. Document it. Do not ignore it." The department responded, "We see no anomaly. All systems nominal." Weeks later, Du Bois began noticing small anomalies in unrelated city files. Corner lines of scanned documents faintly resembling handwriting she did not recognize. "It's spreading," she wrote. "Or we are all seeing the same memory." December 2024, structural anomalies. A final inspection was conducted on the former apartment 3B at 47 Rue Saint-Vincent. Structural engineers reported subtle irregularities. Western wall thickness varied between 40 centimeters and 1 m. Plaster layers had been added at different times: 1978, 1982, 2013, with no official record of work in the concealed section. Moisture readings suggested a cavity large enough for a human to stand upright, yet no opening existed. Workers noted a faint, low-frequency vibration inside the walls, audible only at night, strongest between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., matching both Morel's original recordings and Arnaud's fiber optic measurements. Resident accounts. Former tenants reported. Madame Rue, 3A. Even after 3B became storage, I could hear tapping, like footsteps pacing the corridor. Sometimes it stopped when I listened closely, only to return when I turned away. Temporary storage occupant, 2017. I found old photographs and sketches hidden beneath shelving. The walls seemed to hum when I handled them. I swore I heard whispers, though no one was there. March 2025, Du Bois's diary. Du Bois began cataloging every anomaly. Digital copies of 3B blueprints develop faint, untraceable layers overnight. Audio files from Morel and Arnaud contain repeating patterns, imperceptible in daylight, audible in low frequency. Structural inspections suggest a corridor exists physically but cannot be accessed. She wrote, "The building is a memory. Each record, each measurement, each witness imprint feeds it. The corridor is not just walls, it is a tension-made material." April 2025, observation experiment. Du Bois conducted a final experiment. Set up motion sensors and audio recorders around 3BS western wall. Left the equipment overnight while documenting her presence in a separate room. Results. Motion sensors triggered irregularly, though no one had entered the apartment. Audio recorders captured low-frequency hums and subtle tapping. When playing recordings in daylight, faint voices could be discerned, often repeating, "Do not open. We are still here." Du Bois concluded, "The corridor exists in data, in structure, and in memory. It does not need human presence to persist." Aftermath. 3B was permanently sealed and converted to an unlisted archive storage space. All official permits cite structural instability as the reason. Du Bois continues to maintain digital copies of the reconstructed corridor and the associated anomalies, noting that each interaction subtly changes them. It remembers what we see, and perhaps what we imagine. October 2025, integration of observations. Du Bois began systematically integrating the reconstructed corridor blueprints into the municipal digital archive. Each digital file she uploaded seemed to generate extra layers overnight. These layers contained faint marks resembling Morel's handwriting, as if the archive itself remembered what she had documented. Lines appeared that she had not drawn, some matching fiber optic conduit measurements, others echoing structural anomalies from the 2015 inspection. Du Bois wrote in her diary, "The map is no longer mine. It is the archive's. Every copy, every scan, every interaction embeds a memory I cannot erase. Perhaps it never belonged to me at all." November 2025, colleague observations. Archivists reported unusual occurrences. Scans of unrelated documents occasionally displayed faint lines or annotations in the margins. Audio of building inspections and Morel's recordings seemed to overlay with structural PDFs and viewing software. New hires handling the 3B folder reported unease, subtle hums, faint tapping, and difficulty concentrating. One archivist said, "It's like the archive wants attention. Every time someone examines it, it shifts slightly, grows slightly. The building, the files, the corridor, it's all becoming one." December 2025, digital contamination. Du Bois observed the first clear instance of cross-file anomaly. A structural report from a nearby building, 49 Rue Saint-Vincent, began displaying corridor lines from 3B. Margins contained annotations that were not present in the original paper copy, tiny phrases, almost illegible, reading, "Do not open. We are still here." Du Bois's diary notes. The map and the archive are no longer separate. Observation itself creates presence. Perhaps this is what Morel and Arnaud were sensing: attention, memory, and record merging into one entity. January 2026, psychological effects. Du Bois reported increasing disorientation. She frequently saw lines moving across her screen when she blinked. The low-frequency hum from previous recordings now seemed to emanate from the office monitors themselves. Dreams in the corridor persisted nightly, increasingly intertwined with her perception of the archive. Her final diary entry of the month reads, "I am no longer simply observing the corridor. I am inside it. Every line, every annotation, every frequency is part of me now. Perhaps the corridor does not exist outside attention, and I am its medium." Summary of findings. Physical evidence of precise, self-reinforcing system. The corridor has become simultaneously physical, remnants behind walls and under floors, digital, layered blueprints and corrupted records, psychological, observer perception and experience. This chapter marks the point at which the story of 47 Rue Saint-Vincent transitions fully into a living archive, a system in which building, data, and human attention are inseparable. February 2026, new residents. A young couple moved into the building at 47 Rue Saint-Vincent, unaware of the building's history. They reported unusual phenomena almost immediately: low-frequency hums at night, objects slightly shifted in storage rooms, and a faint scent of plaster dust. Their cat, unusually, avoided the west side of the building, hissing and pacing near the former 3B location. When asked about previous tenants, the landlord offered only vague explanations. 3B has been storage for years. Nothing unusual should be here. March 2026, observed phenomena. Technicians performing routine checks in the building's maintenance shafts noted subtle anomalies. Small, unlisted cavities beneath the floors with traces of dust consistent with Morel's 2015 exploration. Slight misalignments in floorboards above the original corridor. Residual faint lines in the cement and plaster consistent with measurements from Du Bois's reconstruction. Electrical engineers confirmed the hum was not caused by current fluctuations but seemed to resonate at the same 50 Hz frequency identified in earlier fiber optic measurements. April 2026, Du Bois returns. Claire Du Bois returned to the building to document the persistence of anomalies. She carried digital prints of her reconstructed blueprints. She noticed that even in her absence, PDFs of the 3B corridor had developed new, faint marks. Audio recordings of the building at night revealed tapping patterns synchronized with the original measurements of the corridor. Du Bois wrote in her diary, "The corridor persists, independent of my observation. It has become memory itself, a trace left in concrete, data, and perception." May 2026, psychological imprint. New residents and researchers experienced subtle effects. Sleep disruption from low-frequency hums. Mild disorientation when interacting with documents or prints of 3BS plans. Occasional perception of lines moving across walls or screens, mirroring the corridor's shape. Du Bois noted, "It is not supernatural, yet it exists beyond purely physical explanation. The corridor lives in the overlap of building, data, and human attention." June 2026, archival integration. The municipal archives began cataloging Du Bois's reconstructions, marking them as observational phenomena. Every file, when accessed, developed new subtle annotations over time. Metadata suggested incremental changes overnight, though no human interaction had occurred. Archivists began noting psychological effects on themselves: unease, fixation, and dreamlike visualizations of the corridor. Du Bois summarized, "The corridor is memory in motion. It is the record of attention, of obsession, of perception. Perhaps this is what Morel, Arnaud, and I have been building, a corridor that exists wherever it is observed. observation. At this stage, 47 Rue Saint-Vincent is no longer just a building. Physical remnants of 3BS hidden corridor remain under floorboards and behind walls. Digital PDFs and scanned reconstructions continue to evolve. Psychological observers experience perceptual distortions and dreams related to the corridor. The corridor has become a persistent memory, embedded across material, digital, and cognitive spaces. July 2026, the observer effect. Du Bois began to theorize that the corridor's persistence depended on attention itself. Every time a human examined the digital blueprints, a physical space in the building seemed to resonate in parallel. Observers who spent prolonged time with the files or prints began noticing subtle movements in walls, floorboards, and shadows, though measurements confirmed no structural changes. Du Bois wrote, "The corridor grows in proportion to attention. Observation is not passive, it is generative. Each witness, each printout, each scan contributes to its architecture." August 2026, resident reports. Long-term tenants continue to experience unexplained phenomena. Low-frequency hums persisted at night, strongest near the former 3B location. Furniture subtly shifted, though no one entered the rooms. Some reported dreams of corridors stretching beyond the building's physical limits, filled with faint writing and numbers matching Morell's and Du Bois's annotations. One resident, after reviewing copies of Du Bois's PDFs, said, "I see the corridor in my mind's eye even when I'm not looking at the screen. It feels alive." September 2026, digital reinforcement. Du Bois observed that the PDFs themselves now contained emergent patterns. Layers appeared that she had not created. Tiny annotations in her own handwriting style appeared alongside Morell's original symbols. When she displayed the files on multiple devices, discrepancies emerged, lines shifted, rooms expanded or contracted, faint coordinates appeared. She noted, "Attention creates architecture. The corridor is constructed from perception as much as from plaster and pixels." October 2026, psychological mapping. Du Bois conducted a mapping experiment. Volunteers examined her PDFs while seated in the building. Sensors recorded microvibrations in floors, walls, and ceilings. Observers reported dreams and perceptual shifts corresponding to anomalies in the PDF layers. Findings suggested observers' focus influenced perception of structural anomalies. Digital files acted as a feedback loop, amplifying attention into experience. The corridor existed simultaneously as data, memory, and architecture. Du Bois wrote, "We are not merely witnesses. We are co-authors. Attention is the material of this architecture. The corridor only exists because we observe it, and in observing, we continue its creation." November 2026, institutional recognition. The Municipal Archives formally categorized Du Bois's reconstructed files as perceptual artifacts with measurable influence on observers. Access logs documented unusual interactions, files opened at odd hours, unexplained metadata changes, and fate marks appearing without user input. Archivists acknowledged subtle psychological effects among staff, recommending breaks and rotation schedules. Du Bois reflected, perhaps the corridor was never a secret passage at all. Perhaps it was always attention made concrete, memory made data, observation made space. We enter it, and it enters us. Summary: the corridor of 47 Rue Saint-Vincent has evolved into a persistent phenomenon spanning physical space. Walls, floors, and cavities retain traces of original and subsequent interventions. Digital records, PDFs, scans, and annotations evolve independently, reflecting attention patterns. Psychological space. Observers experience hallucinations, dreams, and shifts in perception directly tied to the corridor's construction. It is simultaneously record, perception, and architecture, an emergent system created by human focus and memory. January 2027, new observers. A team of urban researchers was granted temporary access to 47 Rue Saint-Vincent to study archival anomalies. They were shown Du Bois's reconstructed PDFs, along with digital and printed records of the 3B corridor. Within hours, several researchers reported subtle perceptual shifts, faint vibrations beneath their feet, the sensation of walls breathing, and visual hallucinations of lines extending across rooms. One researcher wrote in a private memo, "The corridor is no longer just in the files. It exists in our awareness. The moment we pay attention, it manifests, even if only perceptually." February 2027, persistent digital anomalies. Every copy of the reconstructed PDFs continued to evolve, developing new lines, symbols, and faint handwriting. Metadata indicated incremental changes occurring overnight, independent of any user access. Anomalies began appearing in related municipal files, documents unrelated to 3B, suggesting that the corridor's influence propagated through the archival system. Du Bois observed, "It spreads. Attention begets presence. The corridor does not need walls to exist. It only needs to be noticed." March 2027, resident experiences. Long-term tenants of the building reported persistent low-frequency hums and occasional tapping in the west wing. Dreams of corridors extending beyond the physical structure, sometimes filled with unrecognizable writing and symbols. A sense of presence when alone in rooms once associated with 3B. Du Bois noted, "The corridor is perceptible even without PDFs, without blueprints. It has become embedded in human memory and expectation." April 2027, theoretical conclusion. Du Bois compiled her final report. Physical traces of the corridor persist in walls, floors, and hidden cavities. Digital traces evolve autonomously, reflecting layers of observation and interaction. Psychological traces are measurable in observers' perception, sleep patterns, and attention-driven experiences. She concluded, "The corridor exists where observation, memory, and record intersect. It is a system sustained by human attention, perpetually reconstructed and re-experienced. Morel's obsession, Arno's investigation, my documentation, all coalesced into a single enduring structure, part architecture, part data, part mind. May 2027, the corridor today. 47 Rue Saint-Vincent remains an occupied residential and archival space. Du Bois's PDFs are retained in the municipal archive under restricted access, flagged for observation effects. New residents occasionally report faint vibrations, dreams, and sensations that echo those of previous observers. Researchers note that each new interaction subtly alters both digital and perceptual phenomena. Du Bois reflected, "We are not merely witnessing the corridor, we are sustaining it. In attention, the corridor persists. In memory, it persists. In data, it persists. It has become perpetual." Observation. The corridor of 3B at 47 Rue Saint-Vincent now exists as a perpetual system. Materially, faint remnants in the building structure. Digitally, PDFs and archival records that continue to evolve. Psychologically, a measurable effect on observers' perception and cognition. It is, in essence, a living record, an intersection of human focus, memory, and architecture, continuing indefinitely. January 2028, consolidation of the archive. By this point, the municipal archives formally recognize the 3B corridor as a perceptual and digital phenomenon. All copies of Du Bois's reconstructed PDFs were consolidated on a secured server. Printouts were archived in restricted storage. Researchers were advised to limit exposure to prevent perceptual fatigue. Access logs showed that each new interaction with the files produced subtle, unpredictable alterations, faint lines, symbols, or annotations that had never been manually added. Du Bois wrote, "The corridor no longer requires my attention alone. It exists wherever someone looks, remembers, or thinks of it." March 2028, observer finalization. New residents, researchers, and archival staff reported similar, though diminishing, perceptual effects. Low-frequency hums persisted but were largely localized to the West Wing. Dreams and hallucinations became rare, fading as interactions with the corridor were formalized and limited. Digital files continued to evolve, but now within the controlled environment of the archive. Du Bois reflected, "The corridor is no longer emergent. It has achieved a stable equilibrium, its activity mediated by attention and observation, no longer unpredictable or dangerous." April 2028, psychological containment. With careful cataloging and controlled interaction, observers' exposure was limited, psychological effects were mitigated. The building itself showed no further structural anomalies. Fiber optic and electrical hums returned to background levels. No unusual vibrations were detected beyond standard environmental noise. Du Bois concluded, "Perception, data, and structure have merged. But by defining boundaries of observation, the corridor persists without overt intrusion into reality. It is contained, present, but stable." May 2028, the final note. Boyce's last diary entry reads, "The corridor taught me that attention is not passive. Observation can create, sustain, and transform." 47 Rue Saint-Vincent is no longer just a building. It is a record of human focus, obsession, and memory, a phenomenon that lives in walls, wires, and minds. The corridor exists. It will continue. But now, it exists quietly, as all enduring systems do, self-sustaining, acknowledged, and respected. Epilogue Legacy. 47 Rue Saint-Vincent continues to be occupied, with restricted archival access to 3 BS reconstructed plans. Researchers visiting the building are aware of the corridor's subtle effects and follow strict protocols to prevent psychological contamination. The story of Morel, Arnaud, and Du Bois has become a case study in human attention as an architectural and informational phenomenon, an enduring blend of reality, perception, and memory. The corridor exists, not as a secret passage, but as a lasting testament to the interplay between human cognition, digital replication, and the physical world, a perpetual structure sustained by attention itself.